What up, YouTube? So right now I'm about to make a little trek, headed to visit my good old buddy B-Rad, B-Rizzle. What else do we call him? The giraffe, as he likes to call himself, or people like to call him. Pretty sure that's made up. I don't think anybody actually calls him the giraffe. I don't call him the giraffe. But you know, that's what he's gonna go by on his vlog, so we'll call him that. So I've met Brad about maybe 5-6 years ago, and we've been good friends for a while now. We met in San Francisco, and then after that we talked for a bit, started playing basketball together, and then from there he decided to move to Las Vegas. So he moved to Las Vegas, stayed there for a bit, and then made his way to LA, and then back home up north, and now back to Las Vegas. So he's been all over. This giraffe, he's a roaming giraffe, I guess you could say, on the prowl, or what's the word I'm looking for? Grazes. This giraffe grazes often, all over the place. And now he's back in Las Vegas, but he's got family still up in NorCal, so I'm up for the holidays, about 2 hours away from him. So we decided to do a little co-vlog. I'm gonna drive up to him, we're gonna go play some poker, and also check out Russian River Brewing. And yeah, you know, a little bit of everything. Gambling, driving. I'm not too excited about this 2-hour trek. Generally not much for these long drives. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. For the vlog. For the vlog. Alright? We had the same thought, you nerd.
Are you vlogging me, bro?
No, I'm not, bro.
You're vlogging me.
Weirdo. Weird. I am so tired. Get out of my face. Alright. B-Rad, say what up.
Hello.
Alright, we are now headed to Graton. So I was thinking maybe we should talk about how we met.
Yeah, so let's see. I had just moved into San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah.
So when I met you, it was like you were just
I
kind
had moved in there like within a month or two of like when we first met.
Didn't even know that. Didn't even know that.
Yeah. I just decided to kind of take poker more seriously because I just won the satellite into the main event. And
wait, so at that point you had played the main event? You just played it?
Yeah.
Oh, so you had just played it, and then I met you in like what, August or September or something?
Yeah.
Didn't even know I was playing with a main event player. I've yet to play the main event. I don't have $10,000 to light on fire.
Yep.
So that's cool. So you won that seat, and then you won $8 million or something?
Well, you probably saw the final table coverage.
I don't remember seeing you there actually. So you did not win any money.
No, I didn't win any money. Busted day 2, got bowed over boated. Probably misplayed the hand. I think if I didn't really know what I was doing back then. I was.
So the question is, does he know what he's doing right now?
In tournaments, probably not. But anyways, back to the original question.
Okay, yeah. So how we met? All right, back to that.
The first time I played Lucky Chances, I saw you and I was like, oh, that seems like a cool guy. Seems.
I'm a cool dude. What can I say?
Little did I know
that I'm not so cool.
No, so I thought you seemed like a cool guy. You were like, seemed like you were my age. You're a few years older.
Oh man.
And you were good at poker. I was like, oh, it seems like a guy I'd like to be friends with. You said something about playing basketball, and somehow it came up that like you lived near me. Like you were talking to someone else. I overheard it.
So you were stalking me, is what you're telling me?
A little bit.
Stalking me. This is the face of a stalker.
Yeah.
What a weirdo. You know, it's a good thing that I looked at this because at least I know that the camera's running, because it would have been pretty embarrassing if we'd been talking for like 4 minutes without taking any video. That would have been stupid. But not beyond me.
So then I was playing basketball one day. I thought I'd tell the whole table I was about to go play basketball.
and I was like, hey, I want to play some basketball. So we started to hoop it up. And we started playing basketball, and then just kind of had this beautiful friendship blossom.
Yeah,
and matured.
I lived in San Francisco for about 1.5 years, and we hung out and played a lot. And you helped me out quite a bit, just going through strategy. And like, I remember we'd play sessions, and afterwards we'd talk, and you'd just be like, well, why are you betting here in this spot? Why are you betting this much? and you were making me like question the way I played a lot, which is really good and helpful. I think that's important to do, especially when you first start out. And I realized I didn't have any good answers for like why I was doing the things I was doing. So that just helped me get quite a bit better.
Makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
And here we are, we're approaching Graton. Let's see if I can get some Graton footage. Some great footage of Graton. Alright. We're about to play. It's crazy. You know, that reminds me of that video outside of the World Series. I mean, the photo where we're like, both went. And like,
oh yeah, the monster stand.
probably take some walking in footage. Are you currently taking video?
Yeah.
All right then. Woo! Graton Casino. Whoa, what? You are bringing me out of my vlogging shell.
Yeah.
I could have a personality.
It's getting kind of dry there.
It was pretty dry, I've got to admit. It's funny because people, oh shit, this is really muddy. People are like probably going to maybe watch this now and be like, I'm acting and like whatever. But
no, you're like a normally weird, goofy kind of guy.
that's what I'm saying. So it's kind of nice. That's, you know, gotta get out that shell. You gotta break loose.
Okay, I've already gotten in trouble for having friends dance on
That's true. That wasn't dancing. That was me breaking out of the shell.
Ah.
That was, you know, breaking out like a chicken. Like a chicken. After grabbing a quick meal, we headed to the poker room to play some 1-3 no limit, sitting next to one another. Little did I know that I was about to play like a giant ape. In the first hand of note, there's a limper under the gun, and Brad opens to 15. I'm next to act and look down at ace-jack of diamonds. Now, this is a spot where sometimes I'm going to 3-bet to isolate, but given that Brad is a competent opponent, I'd much rather flat and allow some of the worst players in the game to continue, not to mention the fact that I'm never really going to get Brad to call me with worse pre-flop. So I flat, the button flats, and we go 3-handed to the flop, which comes jack 6-4 rainbow. Brad checks. This is a spot where I'm almost always going to bet, but I decided to check because I think the button's a pretty aggressive opponent and will often take a stab when checked to. Unfortunately, he doesn't take the bait and he checks as well. The turn is the 8 of diamonds, giving me top pair, top kicker, as well as the nut flush draw. Brad checks and I decide to lead 30 into the $45 pot. Since I had missed getting any value on the flop, my goal here is to start building a pot. Unfortunately, the button folds and Brad folds as well. I end up finding out after the hand that Brad had king queen and just completely whiffed. Now, the very next hand that gets dealt is probably a prime example of exactly what not to do in a live, low-stakes, no-limit hold'em game. The hand left me scratching my head for quite some time and was surely a big reason why I began to spew off chips in this game. So I get dealt 3-4 of diamonds in the cutoff, and after nearly the whole table limps to me, I limp as well. Oftentimes in these small stakes games, I'll try and sneak into pots and position multi-way with these trash hands, hoping to hit big and stack an opponent who just can't fold. Long term, this isn't winning poker, and it's a great way to bleed chips and get yourself into some difficult spots. The flop comes 8-7-3 with 1 diamond, and it checks to me. I flop bottom pair with backdoor straight and flush draws. I bet $10 in a 20 and get 4 callers. The turn is a deuce of diamonds and it checks to me again. Now I can check back and take a free card to hit my flush draw, but I'd much rather remain the aggressor since I don't believe anyone is particularly strong. I bet 15 to 70. Now the button calls and the big blind jams for 77. Once again, this is further proof of how futile it is to splash around in low stakes games. People just don't fold. We both call the extra 27 and the river is an offsuit king. Since I've missed and I don't think the button will be folding a better pair, and more importantly, I actually don't think that I'm going to be beating the guy who is all in, I decided not to bet into the dry side pot. The button checks behind and he tables king 9 of clubs for no pair, no draw, king high, which now river's top pair. I am completely befuddled. The all-in player had flop top pair of 8s and was beating me anyway, but still just completely confused exactly what happened in this hand. I have to assume that the button thought that the 2 black cards on the flop were clubs and that he had flopped a flush draw. After this hand, I began to target this opponent in pots, trying to outplay him in multiple spots, which is probably mistake number 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know, I've lost track at this point. Because obviously trying to outplay a guy who wouldn't want to fold king high is probably not going to work. Brad and I told ourselves we'd go check out the bar in the center of the casino to grab a beer, so after getting myself stuck about 400, we headed over. I'd like to discuss my propensity to hemorrhage money whenever playing low-stakes poker with my buddies for fun. The truth of the matter is, it's never really fun to lose money, and I think this is a habit I need to kick. I've told myself time and time again that I wouldn't be doing this, but the truth of the matter is, every single time I play in small games, I decide to spew a bunch of money off. I think it's about time I learned my lesson, and there's really no reason that I shouldn't be able to play my A game even when playing in small games. After hanging out for a bit, we decided to head back to the poker room. I wanted to try to play a little bit more before we head over to Russian River, try to take advantage of my spewy image and hopefully try to win some back. This is literally the last hand before we decide to leave. I think I'm stuck about 600 at this point. I haven't played well all day, and I'm definitely not going to start now. I get ace-6 of spades under the gun and open 10, folds around to the small blind, who calls 10, and the big blind makes it 35. Not going to get unstuck folding, so I call 25, as does the small blind. The flop comes king 10-9 with 2 spades, giving me the nut flush draw. The small blind checks, and now the big blind leads for $50 into $100. I think this half pot sizing in a 3-bet pot in a 1-3 game is a bit strange, which leads me to believe he's either really strong or he's a hand like queens or jacks and is afraid of the king high board. I decide to flat and see if I can possibly take it away from him on the turn. The small blind calls as well, leaving himself with about $30 or $40. Unfortunately, the turn is the 4 of diamonds and we miss. The small blind checks, and now the big blind bets $100, leaving himself with $100. I don't get the impression that he's bet folding, so our options at this point are to call or to fold. We're getting 3.5 to 1 on the call. If you take into account the fact that the small blind is probably calling off his last $40, we're getting nearly 4 to 1, and then if you take into account the implied odds on the remaining $100 that the big blind has, which he will most likely be getting all in no matter what on the river, I think this call is okay. Sticking with the general theme that I've been running like dog poop for the past couple of months, the river is the 10 of hearts, missing me and pairing the board. The big blind goes all in for his remaining 100, I fold obviously, and he shows ace king for flopping top pair top kicker. The small blind shows queen jack of spades for flopping the nut straight with the straight flush redraw, so we ended up drawing pretty thin. Having now lit a bunch of money on fire, it was time for a not so well deserved but a much needed beer.
This is downtown Santa Rosa.
Oh, alright, that's exciting. We're in downtown
World famous
Russian River Brewery, home of Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger.
The Younger's the one that's
Well, the Younger is the one that's hard to get, or like only comes out every once in a while. So here we are at Russian River. This is not very impressive because there's no lights. They need lights. Ooh, here we go. This is about as good as it's gonna get. We're gonna go whoosh. Russian River. Ooh. We ordered their tasting flight in order to get a little bit of every one of their beers, and I would definitely suggest doing the same if you ever go. Alright, it is 4:30 a.m. We are leaving the Bradley household.
was a great trip, had a lot of fun. Fortunately, poker didn't go well, but that's gonna happen when you monkey off. Alright, well, hopefully we'll do it one more time before the end of the holidays. Alright, peace.